Very good morning. I think we all are done with our exercise course and now we are getting into the content. But before I talk about anything on content, um, I want to share a couple of important thank you note. It's very humbling to be here in front of all of you. Many of you I have worked with in the room. Many of you, I have seen you doing some amazing work in the country, and it is very humbling and a privilege for me to be in this August company. Thank you for taking this time out and making it happen for this cohort to come together, this fine ET CDC summit for all of us and gain some knowledge together. Nonetheless, I also feel that after 2.5 years, when there was so much of Zoom overdose, this is such a welcome change. And I was just thanking few of the very important sponsors, ET, all the folks that we have been watching through our childhood, who has shaped us, and they are bringing all of us together here. Google Cloud, Nevius, ET, many of the organizations. I also feel that the whole administration staff, which puts all these things together for all of us, we couldn't thank you enough. So thanks for putting this such an amazing show for all of us. With that note, what I'm going to talk about today is not about the cloud and data center. As many of us in the room, since we are running important and large businesses, we all know that these are means to the end. So I have these slides in two sections. First section, we are going to see the landscape of growth which is happening in the country and across APAC. When we see that landscape of growth, we are going to reflect back together if digital is the way to tap that growth. And if digital is the way to tap that growth, then how these two components, they come to light. So that is the reflection point. It will be one of very important data points to see, contemplate, take back to organization, debate it with executive team, if any one of us in the room feel we are not doing enough. So that's what is on the slides. But one of the things that I always used to deliberate when I used to be at that side of the table, and today Sneha was always, she has always been, and today also she was generous to say that come and open the session. But I always used to feel that what is that this person brings as an expertise and experience. And if I take 30 seconds, I'm sure that there is thousands of years of experience in the room with many of listed companies and the disruptors. Little bit of what I can add here is there has been a very interesting journey which started being a scientist with one of important government organizations, and then in research and development wing, wherein many of us being geeks, even I was the same, not knowing where the world is moving, but developing some critical databases. You mostly know it as Oracle today. Then various of security softwares that you use in your company, which was powered by CA technologies. Many of the banking services that you used to consume, and many of you who would have returned from West, which is either the Mortgage Express of JP Morgan Chase or the CASA of JP Morgan Chase. We all do payments in the shop today. So I also got an opportunity to serve Visa for a short while. Besides all this, I started my own company, wherein, as many of you, I'm sure few entrepreneurs are in the room, you would understand how difficult it is to take it from 0 to 1 to 1 to 10. And therefore, many of these solutions were used firsthand. And in those days, these were a little bit early in stages, but nonetheless, these were the solutions to recon. That was not enough in terms of learning capsule. And then after I sold my company, I came in to shape up few of important disruptors in the country. One of them, as we recently would have shopped on, and saved a little bit of that money which consumers are pampered with. The big billion day, Flipkart, Myntra, mobile app strategy, Amazon, India platform, GST, and therefore the whole data. I know many of us get tracked by these companies on daily basis that you shopped A, how about shopping B? Whether you like it or not, but one of the members, executive members you can blame is here today with you. So with this range of expertise, experience, there are some reflections I'll be sharing. So that is point one. Point two, with BCG, as many of you know, we generally help transform companies, which is a business build, and sales, marketing, technology have become a very critical element, as well as people, as well as real estate, as well as location strategy, as well as M&A. So that gave lots of dimension as what to look for when we are contemplating these. So there are 7 solutions of tapping this economy that we will deliberate today. Those 7 are something that comes from practitioners' lens, plus also seeing as where industry is moving. So this is the context that I wanted to set, that rather than mere PPT, this is our reflection zone, and I would love to hear your comments and feedback offline once you go through these reflections today. So this is what we have onto the table. Before I kick in, I would just want to take the pulse in the room with 3 questions. First, how many of us are from the technology organization in the room? Excellent. So just for the audience, approximately 50%. And how many of us are from non-technology organization in the room? Okay, so approximately 55 odd. So we have a balanced crowd. So which means I need to be cautious not to get too deep into tech, and I'll keep the fungibility of words in that ways. Second, how many of you know, largely in a broader sense, but in a mathematical sense, not in a qualitative sense, where the economy is heading with respect to sectors? Is it on a higher side, or is it stagnant, or is it coming down? And if I have to ask this for few domains, do you think the domains which are IG, industrial goods, agriculture, pharma, do they take the top spot in terms of the growth and revenue that our country will be foreseeing in the next 5 to 10 years? How many of you believe these 3 industries are in a humongous growth trend and we are going to have an opportunity of play in these industries? Show of hands on this. Okay, so approximately 30% of the people in the room feel that there is a growth trajectory. On the other sector, which many of you would be part of, banking, insurance, retail, and internet companies solving multiple problems. These 4, do you think that they are going to take more than 60% of the pie of the market in terms of the disruption and growth, the way you see it today? Are they going to take that in next 5 to 10 years in terms of taking pie of the market in disruption and growth? Show of hands, how many of you believe that? Okay, very feeble, 15%. So you've got the lay of land. We know where the heart is. We know where our mind is. Let's see some facts. Digital is given now. If any one of us are not debating digital in the room, then we are missing on an opportunity. And this is just the start, though we may feel to be that we have enough that we have done, but there are few countries in the world, and especially Israel, Southeast Asia, couple of them, Singapore is one of them. Indonesia is another of them. Few of them in Europe, especially Paris leading the front, and then US, few of the cities there, as we all know. So there is enough competition which shows that we have a good runway to cover. So therefore, if we are not debating this in the room, then there is something we are losing if we are thinking we have done enough. So that is where what, why, and how. And this is more like a reflection, but we are just at the cusp of start. This is how the dynamics in the market has got changed in the last 10 years. We always used to believe that few of core manufacturing, industrial, oil and gas, they will never get replaced because they have such serendipity of business with which it has got built. It's very difficult to get them replaced. But few of the companies which have just emerged in the last 20 to 25 years have overthrown the companies who were reigning for the last 100 years. Now see the power of digital, and few of these components for which the summit is, those actually are part of it as well. But this is one fact. The second fact is what we were debating. If you will see our GDP growth, the global GDP is likely to grow by 2.5x. I know this is not the best time to talk about this. There's lots of media news around as what's happening in economy. But if we forecast and see the trend in which industry is investing to build capability, there is an exponential curve of growth that few of the competition will enjoy, but few will not, because they may not have forecasted. So this is where the potential opportunity is. And if you see the whole trend as how it is growing, wherein all the pie, which was very abysmally low, which still is low today, but they were non-existent. They have started taking the route as how to power their agenda by powering it with many attributes, and one of the core attribute is digital. And in digital, how to have a longer extensibility and play, because they have more to do and less to have availability in the market. Talent, cost, softwares, availability, service. So therefore, they have started taking that step, very bold step, and you will see as in next 5 years, these numbers are gonna change dramatically. So that's the second fact which is happening in the market. The third one, many of you would have heard in various of agencies, few audited, few non-audited, wherein the economy growth is being discussed about, and this is real. Many of our core industries, and few of you would be representing from there is a strong debate of transformation and therefore the value proposition. We pretty much though have aspiration of $7 to $10 trillion economy, though we sit at between 1.5 to 3 today. However, this is gonna take an exponential growth, and largely because the way India Inc. is thinking, the capabilities as I speak, they have started taking shape in few of the companies, if not industry per se. So this is where the growth is gonna get kind of uplifted. The second, lots of policy changes, and I'm sure many of you are beneficiary of either consuming those policies or being part of the governing council, whether it is on digital, whether it is on PII, whether it is on data, whether it is on ease of doing business, whether it is on safety norms of manufacturing, whether it is on the ESG, the whole economic, social, and the global affairs, or it is about cyber. There are lots of deliberation policy upholds that have started taking shape as we deliberate together in this morning. Few disruptors, this is just to understand if these are facts, then where some actions have started happening. Somebody is seeing this potential, somebody is tapping up this potential. And this is a landscape across, our Southeast Asia, China, and little bit of Russia and bit of Europe. Purposefully not too much US because we all have been exposed to it a lot. Many of these, and especially in banking, finance, insurance, payment, many of these become horizontal as well. As you know, many of retailers do payments today, many of payment companies do insurance today, many of insurance NBFCs want to become bank today. So lines are getting blurred and therefore disruption is happening. These are few logos, and luckily we have our India at the center in the action of happening. Though there is just one logo of India, but then there are few more who are doing the novel work. However, in Indonesia, China and Russia, the curve is way steep ahead. And this is one reflection that I always take back in the evening, that what will help either our agencies or companies or policymakers to realize that what can fuel up to catch up. It is not even to be in the similar line of disruption, which few of those players in those countries are doing. And luckily, we have a playbook. So why not learn and move fast? So that is another very important aspect here. This is one of the landscape as how incumbents, where they were having a pole position, nobody thought they will get disrupted. Means who would think any of the industry domains in the country, in India, that you can think of, either in banking, insurance, retail, IG, oil and gas. Pick up one name in your mind as I speak and think about it. If they are so huge, can you even imagine they will get disrupted? It was beyond imagination. And this is where the incumbents are getting thrashed or disrupted. And therefore, this is the landscape in few parts of the world. Already, the pole position has been taken up by few. And if I have to name it on the slide here, I think you already would be knowing about few of them. Few of them have started putting up the center in the country. Stripe is one of them, which is giving a strong pushhold to many. Revolut is another one, which is giving strong competition in the UK market. Kakao Bank in South Korea is already taken a pole position. Tinkoff in Russia has already taken a position which no banks, the credit card selling units, could even have ever imagined the numbers that they have clocked. So these are few examples, but obvious the story of India is not unknown to many. Nobody thought that we are not going to use the credit card cash, but we are going to use wallets. And therefore the story evolved from there, and today few of these are listed companies. So this is where the run rate is moving. And it is not just India, complete world is thinking, but on the delivery vehicle of digital. One of the common theme, if you will cut across here, technology is the backbone. Many of these who are incumbents are having debate, and I'm sure many of you are part of those debates. How can I position my company as tech first company? But it is not because of that, it is because of the reason I'm telling you as what is happening in the world. So with that debate, there are few which we never thought, even in our country, that we will be consuming it. Think about it. Buy now, pay later means coming from the age as many of us, and I would not tell myself to be too old, resonating it to few of you, but I never thought that somebody is going to give me money for free without knowing me, without even knowing my whereabouts, and say that pay me after 45 days. Has it ever happened? To my friend also, I used to think twice during my college days in spite of knowing the room number in the hostel. And think about it today, nobody knows me but wants to give me this money. And with this, the whole credit growth in the country has taken a U-shape. The whole credit market, which was so conservative, suddenly it has started becoming a disruptor. Now, what it means for many of us, any of us who are running the businesses, it runs on capital. And with this, the capital availability is getting injected into the market. If I bring you back with the basic principle of economics, the whole credit, if the whole monetization or capital is available in the market, then the multiplier effect starts. Think about it, when you have a lakh of rupee versus a crore of rupee. How does your spend looks like? Will you not try a little bit more with a crore, rather what you could not have tried just with a lakh? So that is what is the power of capital infusion. This is just one of the levers. There are many that are happening in the market. If I bring you back with lending, if I bring you back with the motor parts that actually are being made available on credit, if I bring you back in oil and gas sector, wherein many of investments are from non-oil and oil and gas, and therefore into oil and gas industry to put the rigs. So what is the underlying concept? Capital availability. And somebody is seeing this. Some of the CEOs and CFOs and board is watching this, and they have already started planning how to spot it with growth. Therefore, if you see, these are evolving situations in the country as I speak. I don't see a reason why for next 3 years they will not be applicable, which is the consumerism. And how well do we know consumer? Because the whole purchasing power of all of us in the room on an average is growing. If I give you exact stats, then we were at approximately 46 rupees of spend on an average in the country, which suddenly has grown to 71 in last 3 years. Now, on the absolute value, it may look very less, but if you extrapolate it to various tiers and segment, the percentage is huge. And for a country to realize that huge growth is phenomenal. So therefore, consumerism. Second, we can't evade technology, and that is what is the theme of our chapter today. Third, geopolitical. I'm sure many of you would be reading news, but this is going to be one of very critical elements in our core decision making. Is it that would you want to buy a software from Israel, or would you want to buy a software from Paris? Many of these questions will be asked to you when you are talking technology as well. And this is for a reason. And then complementary strengths. Today, and many of you in the room have already started taking that path. No one wants to have a vertical play. They want to handshake together. A payment company handshaking with a retail company to power consumers. Many of us trying to create an ecosystem in our own organization, which never thought that we would be doing so many things. How many of us thought that a bank will have let's say an ecosystem wherein you can buy headgears, you can buy bikes, you can buy homes, and as how you buy your general day-to-day needs on Amazon. So many of these disruptions. So are we playing together will be one question. And I think for techies it has come naturally, because we have always been into the deliberation of buy and build. And when it was buy, then any which ways we were playing together. However, this is only going to become stronger, bolder, and bigger. With this, there are 7 thoughts that I will leave you with. If all this is happening, and this is fact, this is quantitative numbers, then what is that I should take back as solution to my board, CEO, or executive council? So the first one here, how to tap this opportunity. This is one area, and you will see now these few components. So though this is a topic in itself, but when you take a larger business construct in your mind, they become components. Cloud and DC becomes component. And you see they are important component here. DC, though nobody talks directly, but that is what powers your performance, scale, personalization, being closer to customer. You have bought a tie, can you buy a shirt? All that cannot happen until and unless there is a powerful DC. So I just wanted to put that to perspective, that though DC may not be mentioned, but what it powers. So these are first, there are incumbents, there are traditional players also investing heavily into it. So I just want to let you know that this is not the recipe of the tech first startups or unicorns anymore. And no one than incumbents enjoy the trust, data, demographics of their consumers and partners. And if they have started thinking on it, it's a very welcome move. If not, this is one to take away with. Second, in our country, and though taking a direct cue on one of the policies that touches the industry, the first is either healthcare or banking. And therefore, in these two lines, already policy overall has started. So this is second. If any one of you, the 50% of the room who are into non-tech and are part of policy group, this is the second takeaway. Without this, it will be difficult to have any other play. The third, countries. So if you have to see, we are not just the only one. There are countries who have started taking aggressive strides. They have started investing heavily in tech, digital, policy, talent, infra, attracting few of us as a company to their countries. The fourth one, the whole active funding and the value prop. So you would have heard that many of the large companies also are looking for active capital pool. Many of government agencies are partnering for fund management, fundraise or co-investment. One of the examples would be the whole golden triangle that you see today in the country. So this is the fourth lever, which is not just powered by government, but is also being powered by the private players. And this is no more an eye connoisseur of just startups and unicorns. The question is, are we thinking on those lines? This is one which haunts almost every industry every day, and largely because this is evolving topic. But nonetheless, we need to understand that this is a critical topic. This has taken maturity in Europe market. It is way ahead, though it is stringent. It has taken certain maturity in US. It is way ahead than us, but flexible. We need to take a position as a country leader. Do we want to be stringent? Do we want to be flexible? But what we cannot do is not to think over it. And I know many of us in the room, as I was saying, we have been working together. I know many of you have started taking a position on it, but this is something that cannot be taken position at a final go, saying that today I have thought this and this is what it is. This is iterative, evolving, powered by tech, and unfortunately in tech, by cloud and DC. So that's the another relevance of today's day, that we will be investing in brainstorming why cloud and DC. This is one of the landscape, which is social infrastructure. So this is the sixth pillar. Many of you would have been involved even in your company, where to start new center of my office. Should it be Hyderabad? Should it be Pune? Because maybe Mumbai, maybe Bangalore, they are super cramped. Or should it be Mumbai and Bangalore? Why it cannot be Vijayawada? Why it cannot be Trivandrum or any other? And I'm sure many of you can relate to this debate. Social infrastructure is also one of the central themes taking center stage. And again, you can see the trends. This is where few of the businesses powered by technology would get the horizontal. If this is not played right, those will not play right. And the last one, I'm sure this is debated a lot, acted a little bit lesser, and largely because everybody is in rush to get through the market. But this is reality. And unfortunately, in the last 2.5 years, the whole vulnerability index in the country has taken double-digit leap. So therefore, this has to be pushed harder, else we pretty much will be up for surprise. So these are 7 solutions. And as executive leaders, I will not say that we just need to wear the hat of CIO and CTO. All these functions, they deliberate together. And when you are going back, if business wants to tap that growth potential that I showed in section 1, then these are the 7 levers where organization will have to come. And the only way to power it, or one of the most critical components to power it, is technology. And if technology, then we cannot have a debate on cloud and DC. So that is where I rest my case. Hope this was informative. So thank you so much for hearing me so patiently. I was thoroughly nervous. Will I be able to make sense? Will I be able to hold you? All you guys have super busy schedule, but I must thank you for keeping the attention on. And we'll catch up over a coffee outside. Thank you so much for your time today.